All right. It looks like we're back. Okay, I got chat again. Internet died on me there. You know what the weird thing was? My stream died. I tried to like go to new web pages, completely dead. Tried Alexa or whatever the Google equivalent of it is, didn't work. Everything was disconnected. Internet was completely dead, but I could still see your chat popping up. Like I saw you guys typing F and it died and whatever it was you guys typed. It's like, how is the chat still working, but everything else on the internet is dead? So unfortunately, I lost the previous chat I was trying to catch up on. As my chat program disconnected. Right, so the one thing we do need to work on was the ignoring of zerglings. And someone was right, we could add Hellions to this build. If I had Hellions to my army that just stay back safely, then they'll only really engage zerglings, which is okay, and then I can always peel them off to deal with those random zerglings that show up. Now, I need to commit in 2 hours, so I don't have time to do anything big, but I mean, just maintaining 3 Hellions, I think I basically have the code for that already. Okay, so somewhere I peel off units to deal with zerglings. Let's search for peel. Prel. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is it. We peel off for zerglings. That are 10 range away from any other enemy. Or more than 10 range away from any other enemy. And then we go add. Is there any check in here to make sure I actually have the ability to send a Hellion? So the ground target is added. And then we ignore the Zergling. Yeah. Get chaser types. Right now I'm only sending a Hellion. The other thing is I can peel off a Marauder. I know Zerglings are way faster than Marauders, but I think if I hit the Zergling once with Concussive Shell, I should be able to finish it off. Drop out of this loop. Yeah. Yeah, this object will exist for those Zerglings even if I don't have a unit to chase them. So that is why those Zerglings are getting free damage. So I think one simple thing we can do is just include Marauders. But with that said, if I don't have Hellion or Marauders, then I probably shouldn't be ignoring that Zergling. So we probably shouldn't be creating this object to begin with if I don't have a unit to chase it with. Yeah, so ground kill squad.add. Target units. You know what? We're always going to have a Marauder for now. Since I'm low in time here. Let's not worry about that. To do, don't create object if no chasers available. Yeah, I mean we do have this factory sitting around. Let's use it. I guess a couple of Hellions won't hurt. I don't want to go too crazy with it because I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to expand if I'm like constantly building Hellbats out of it. I'm not sure if it's going to spend up all my minerals. But I think maintaining a couple Hellbats or a couple of Hellions is good enough. Because ghosts aren't even the best versus Zerglings. So it'd be nice to have a little bit more light damage versus Zerglings and Zealots. Build manager. I think we'll definitely prioritize it after barracks units though. I'll be back in 2 minutes, guys. Okay. Okay, so we just need a method for training factory units. Alright, selecting my factories. If the factory is busy, then don't do anything. Unit to produce will always be a Hellion, so that's easy. Well, not necessarily. I guess the next thing we'll do is, we're not going to need add-ons either. I'm not going to get blue flame or anything. This is just a splash of... Yeah, so let's just say if so if the number of Hellions I have is greater than or equal to 2, then we'll do nothing. Let's exit out of here. Otherwise, we find a factory that's idle. And if I can afford a Hellion, then I'll produce a Hellion. Okay, we can give that a try. I guess if we're close to max, too, we probably never want to build a Hellion. And for this, I don't have to be as exact as I was with the bio. Because if I'm not building Hellions, I'll still max out on other things. So if I already have 2 Hellions, or if get food used is greater than 180, good enough. Boom. And then we prioritize starport units, then factory, then barracks, then factory units, then building more barracks, and finally expanding if we have extra minerals. Let's give that a try. Yeah, this is written in Java. Was someone from Twitch chat answering the person from YouTube chat? That's kind of cool. Although I think on that screen I don't show the chat, do I? Maybe I should add that to that screen. Add chat. No, it'll get in the way of the code. Never mind. Maybe it's just coincidence that someone was asking about the programming language on YouTube at the same time Someone was asking on Twitch as well. Keeping a bank minimum for expanding. Well, one thing I probably maybe I should only build Hellions when I have extra minerals too. Hellions are very, very low priority. Like if it's cutting into my ghost counts or my starport units. But I think just the ordering is enough to prevent that. Like if I have idle barracks, it'll never build a Hellion. Unless I literally have no gas. Because the barracks always gets handled before the factory does. You're both on Twitch. Yeah, but on YouTube at the same time, someone was mentioning like IntelliJ and that it's used for Java. It's just weird that it's happening at the same moment. Right, so was there anything else I wanted to learn from that other game versus Eris? I think it was just the peeled off Zerglings that was the issue, and I think we fixed that. He's me. Yeah, doubled my viewership by watching on 2 different platforms. So on in the YouTube, I don't know what you call subs on YouTube, but like the pay join thing, you're allowed to like offer like rewards for people. Like you can give them something if they sub. So I was like, what if there's anything YouTube related I can do there? And then I realized I have about 300 videos that I never released. So if people want more Ketrock, I got like all this content that I just never released on YouTube. I was thinking of adding that as a reward. I mean, there's probably a reason I didn't release them. They're probably shit videos. But still. Or some of them was like decent content, but it was for a different game. Like I was streaming like I was doing videos for like Smite and Hearthstone, and I couldn't decide whether I wanted to actually put other content on my channel besides just StarCraft. But there's a few gems in there. There was a game versus Polt that I played way back in the day that I never released. I was going to edit it into something better, and I just never ended up doing it. I'll probably make it like an unlisted playlist as well, and then I can give it to Twitch subs. But I certainly don't want to put it live on my channel because some of the videos literally ended with like, well, that game was boring. Stop. Then I just accidentally uploaded it to YouTube anyways. What was I even testing again? Hellions, right. Alright, so factory's being added on now. Oh, I forgot I spawned Dark Templar for my opponent. So if you see random EMPs that don't make any sense, it was probably EMPing a DT. One day I need to do something about this. It's like, we can't shoot these guys, so we'll back up. Okay, we're out of range, just come back. We can't shoot them, so let's back up. We're out of range, just come back. And they just end up like hovering down here and taking tons of hits. Maybe we'll like increase the threat range of those high ground units to the point where my bot will just like stay way back from the bottom of ramps. Hopefully bait the opponent to come down the ramp to me. Anything terrain related is super difficult with bots. So I don't suspect bots will be smart enough to like hang out at the top of ramps. I think Gen Z bot was able to do that. You like fight at the top of the ramp. You'd even create a concave along the top of the ramp. There's like this map analyzer library that Python bot users can use. That was helpful for that purpose. I think that answered my question about fungal. Looks like fungal interrupted the snipes there. So at least the initial fungal. Alright, this Hellion's kind of forward, but that's only because it doesn't understand the ramps again. I think once we get up this ramp, the Hellion will be much more tentative, which is kind of the way we want it. Just kind of watching the Hellion. Okay, well, it got... I think it got boxed in by its own unit, by my own units. I think it was trying to stay back. Like, I don't think it'll ever engage like a Hydralisk, because they're like the same range. May not be worth the resources. But at least it can peel off to deal with those Zerglings. And if Hellions aren't available, the Marauders will peel off. Let's package up this bot and test it against Eris again. And then while that's running, let's try some normal games, like with other builds, to make sure I haven't broken my bot, because I'm running short on time, hour and a half. Okay. Yeah, I gotta make sure my bot will use the builds I want it to use versus Kananana as well. I think the other build we should use versus Cannon is our Mass Raven build, because the Mass Raven build is most likely to do the Mule BM. And now we have upgraded the Mule BM to be animated. Definitely want to get that shown in ProBots. Alright, an Eris I want to play against. Okay, let's figure out who Kananana is. That's his ID. So the way my bot works on ladder is he just tries out all different builds versus opponents and then keeps track of the win rate for each of them. And then just kind of starts choosing the highest win rate build. So let's take a look at my bot's data. And see what it's learned about this opponent. What's going on? Is this a giant download or something? 17.6 of 17.6. Let's pause and resume. Nice and broken. Let's cancel. Retry. 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 Okay. Is it my internet again? No, we're still streaming okay. Let's refresh the website. Uh-oh. Is it my internet? Wow, okay, they all just showed up at once. Okay. What? Why is it having trouble deleting? What's going on with my computer? Preparing to recycle. How is this like not instantaneous? Oh, whatever. We'll let that do its thing. Let's extract this to a folder. Sure. Yeah. Then what was that ID? 6033. This guy. there a zoom? Whatever. You probably can't read it, but Marine Rush 2-0. So I played very few games versus this bot. Banshee 1-0. Mass Raven 0-1. Really, I lost with Mass Raven versus this bot. Oh, that's out of the question then. Banshee Cyclone 1-0. Mass Mine Opener 1-0. Ghost Marauder 0-1. So I think we definitely want to use the Ghost Marauder build. And Mass Mine. And we'll use the Banshee build. So I'm just going to edit this just so my bot will choose correctly. So every other build will give it a 99 losses. And then we want to lead with the Marauder build. Maybe we'll do it this way. Maybe we'll just hard code it. No, we'll do it this way. I wanted to switch builds every game. So after the wins with Marauder, we wanted to switch. So if they all have a 100% win rate, then it should switch. Constantly be switching to whichever one has the least amount of games. It's got to play at least 2 games. Let's do it like that. Okay. So this will be the data I'll include. With my entry. Let us turn back on all the builds. Make sure they still function okay. Truck launcher. So let's try the Mass Marine build, Mass Mine Opener. I'll give that a run. I think it deleted those files though. I don't see that window up anymore. I don't know what was going on with the recycling bin there. I don't empty the bin, so sometimes it does get really full. Maybe it was trying to figure something out there. So I think the way it default works on Windows is that anything that's been in the recycling bin for 2 months will get automatically deleted. So it still frees up the space on your hard drive, but then if you accidentally delete something and want to look for it later, if you don't empty the bin, it'll be there for you. The unfortunate thing is I think I'm going to beat this bot too well. I was watching a replay versus Eris where there was a fight where I got off like 75 snipes or something. Because since Eris had such a massive army, and I took like this perfect fight where it's just like... I love that snipe sound, especially when it's like a whole bunch of them together. But assuming Eris and I both stay in the winner's bracket, which seems likely, I'm going to run into him likely at some point. I do have a build that works very well versus Eris. I'm sure he's prepping for it though, because Eris loses to almost no one. So the fact that I'm the one bot that can beat him, he's probably putting all of his effort into defeating that build for the tournament. But it also means I have a few more weeks to work on this Ghost Marauder thing, because even though Eris is slaughtering me in the games, I can see that I'm taking fights really well before lurkers. So there's potential to this. And I don't even think that lurkers is necessarily an answer to this. I think if I code my bot correctly to recognize lurkers and recognize their attack, then Marauders and Ghosts should be, in theory, decent versus lurkers. They get outranged, but they can gun down the lurker really well with the snipe and the Marauder attack. The other thing I haven't added to this bot at all is, well, that's an interesting command center placement. I'm trying to build it in the base, but I told it to pick the in-base location that's closest to the expansion spot. And since I extended my production area outside of my main base, it's building it there, I can fix that. Let's see if it's thrown any exceptions. The whole point of this is to make sure it's not... I didn't break my other builds. Nope, all clean so far. It seems to be functioning fine. These Widow Mines do try to run away when they're on cooldown, but if there's enemies right on top of them and no detection, then they'll just stay where they are. Trying to dodge the Ravager vials. Basically, if I'm already sniping an enemy unit, I kind of like subtract 170 hit points from it. So that way, my bot's smart enough to say, if you're already sniping a roach, no one else should snipe it because it won't have any health left. Whereas for an Ultralisk, it's okay for like 3 guys to snipe it, but just no more than that. So basically, my code to snipe is checking what other snipes are already in progress. This is more of my battle mech build here. Cyclones is one of those units that I feel would be insanely powerful in the bot world. Because you can, you know, for a human, once you have like more than 2 cyclones, it's hard to micro them correctly. But with a bot, you can constantly be like connecting the lock on and then leeching from maximum range the entire time with like all of their cyclones. The only problem with that is that the defense to cyclones is also crazy strong with bots. So the ability to like individually pull back units are being locked onto. So when all said and done, I think the cyclone will be really powerful versus humans with a bot, but not so much in the bot versus bot world. Like last season in the finals versus -0, I was like building all these cyclones. I was getting almost 0 damage done with them. Because the moment I would lock onto a stalker, it would just blink back and break the lock. Oh, I had like fixed a major bug with my ravens too. Basically, when my raven's looking to auto turret a target, it'll check the direction that target's facing. If it's facing away from the raven, then it won't throw down an auto turret unless it can throw it right on top of it. Because if it's facing away, it's likely retreating. Or if it's facing towards the raven, it'll kind of just throw it down at max range. And my bot was doing the opposite of that. I had it backwards, and I just fixed that bug. So basically, like when I was being attacked, my ravens were like jumping on top of the enemy army, like moving right on top of Hydralisk before it would actually throw down an auto turret. And then when the enemy army retreated, my bot would just throw down a bunch of auto turrets at max range that had served no purpose at all. They would get off like 1 shot and then they'd be out of range. Let me just check the log here, make sure there's no errors. Yeah, looking good. Let's try out the Banshee build. Let's see if those other games are done on AI Arena yet. Yep. 11-minute win versus Kananana, and Eris beat us in 12 minutes. Yeah, for 2 reasons there's GTs. One is I'm playing against the built-in AI, and even in the cheater insane mode, it doesn't really challenge my bot. So I just spawn it units every minute. And then I specifically spawned it Vipers and DTs along with the normal stuff I spawned for it, just so it can test out EMP and snipe. Some energy units, some cloaked units, some biological units. Which is kind of why when I first crossed the map with 3 Marauders and 5 Ghosts, I run into like this 80 supply army of the Zerg. It's because I've been like spawning in a bunch of units for it every minute. Oh, the command center positioning. That one that was out there. I gotta fix that. I should do more than make a mental note of these things because I always end up forgetting. I'm going to see like 3 things I need to fix, so then only remember one of them by the time the game ends. I'm using you guys as my memory. Yeah, so when I pick a macro CC position, I think I should first try my main base. And then if there's no positions left in my main base, I should probably just build it right on the expansion location. And then if there's nowhere to expand to, then I'll start putting them in the macro CC positions. Because I extended my available production area like way out, like here and here and here and here. It's just because I run out of space on my main base. Which is fine when I'm on 7 bases to be building a macro orbital over here, but I don't want to be doing it at the start of the game. The other thing is I wanted to trade in some of these production spots in my main base to add more. I want at least 2 orbital positions in my main base, especially if I'm going to be floating out command centers. But I don't think we'll have time to make that change. I don't really want to make any more changes for the ProBots submission because I only got about an hour left. Right now it says testing and bug fixing. No exceptions. That's a good sign. Banshee is wrecking the Zerg. Kind of have to scoop around because of the overseers now. It's funny with this harass Banshee versus bots on the ladder, it either like single-handedly wins the game or is completely useless, all depending on how good the opponent is at tracking down and detecting the Banshee. So I kind of built into my bot that if I have like 2 terrible Banshee harass runs in a row, then I'll just turn it off and stop doing it. Kind of getting cornered here though. Oh, never mind. This map has a lot of dead space in the back. This computer really likes its spore crawlers though. It's spilling spores everywhere. Yeah, these command center positions, not good. I guess I just want to make sure that the Banshees my main Banshee force will eventually attack. And if that functions, I think that's a good enough test. There's likely some little thing, some edge case somewhere that I broke by adding this Ghost Marauder build. This original Banshee's still alive out there. He doesn't even have a kill. Maybe it's not the same one. Clicking on the mini-map doesn't work for some reason when you run this locally. It's super annoying. I can only scroll the screen. I was wondering why I didn't kill the drone. It's because the hatch is so low that the Banshee was prioritizing the hatchery over the drone. Okay, main attack force is working now. I mean, it's hung up on this spore crawler, but at least it moved across the map. Ooh, upgrades. That's something I should check. That is code I did work on for the Ghost Marauder. Upgrades will work differently for that now. I think it's too late now, but I think for the Ghost Marauder build I want to get the starport earlier. Or maybe even multiple starports. Because it would be nice to have medevacs. I did work on the medevacs to make them work, but the starport's so late, and I put so much priority on getting Vikings and Ravens out for detection and sniping overlords that by the time I get a medevac, the game's probably already over. Okay. No red. Good sign. I do evaluate Advance's performance. I think by the amount of minerals and gas it killed. I think it's the way I figured it out. It could be the number of kills, but I think it's more the quality of the kills. So I think it's a cost thing. What am I doing? All right, let's take a look at those AI Arena games. Specifically the Eris one. See how it did versus those peeled off Zerglings. So every time there's a Zergling that shows up in my vision on its own, I should peel off a Hellion for it, and if I don't have a Hellion, I should peel off a Marauder for it. And then my main army should ignore the Zergling from that point forward and just continue on its attack. CC area, right? Okay, let's do that first. I knew I'd forget. Right, so probably, oh man. Every time I have to go back to code that I originally wrote, it always pains me. So select structure position for command centers. This is just building them in a base, so it's probably not here. Purchase macro CC. Wait, I did fix this. Let's run this game in the background while I'm doing this. Yeah, it used to look for the one closest to the expansion. And now I changed it just to pick the first one. And it should populate the list with my macro OCs in my main base, followed by the ones outside of my main base. Yeah, in fact, if we run this bot and stop on the first frame, I can see the order of that list, actually. Okay. It's not showing up. There we go. So, yeah. That's the first one on the list. Number 1. 2. 3 and 4. And 5 even. Let's see what happened in this game versus Eris. I do only have that one spot in my main base, so if I'm already building one in my main base, or at least on most maps I only have one spot in my main base. I could change it to make 2 in my main base, I guess. Oh, this build is going to be building my command centers on location, though. So I won't be able to test that. Okay, I can see the Zergling. So this is a problem, but why? Is like, do I not consider this a base to defend yet because the command center is not done? Or is there still a bug with ignoring these Zerglings instead of peeling off a single unit for them? his ability to like find my reinforcements is pretty strong. I don't even know how he does that, how he like swings around behind my army. Must be some clever coding there. Okay, so clearly the Hellion is working. This got peeled off to deal with an individual unit. So I think it's the fact that it's not peeling off Marauders. How are we for time? 1 hour. So let's take a look at that code. I thought it'd be as simple as adding it to the list. So we add a target. All right, each step we call on step. Should cancel kill squad if the enemy is no longer solo, or if it went into the fog of war like 3 seconds ago. And then we call update units. So we update the chaser. If there is no chaser, if the chaser is supposed to be removed or doesn't exist, we remove it, and then now if the chaser exists and should be removed, we remove it. Otherwise, if the chaser doesn't exist, we add a new chaser. Chaser types, we added Marauder as a viable type. We get a list of all my units of those types. Yeah, so we go through the list. So first we're looking for Hellions, so that worked. But then if we go through the list again for Marauders, it doesn't. Even though it's using the same code. Oh, okay. I see the issue. So it's kind of only looking for units that aren't assigned to a specific object. So like, say I wanted to grab a Banshee, it wouldn't grab a Banshee harasser, like a Banshee that's doing a cloak Banshee harass right now. It would take one from like just the basic A move army. And the way I built my Marauders is all of them are in specific units. So there's never a Marauder available. So yeah, so I'm gonna have to think about how I want to do this now. Because for instance, if I had a Marauder, say, doing this task, like chasing a Zergling, and then another Zergling arrives, I don't want to grab that Marauder for this Zergling. Otherwise, you know, there's going to be this fight back and forth. Well, I think I'm kind of on the decision that Kananana is not Eris. Eris is the one with these annoying Zerglings everywhere. The opponent I'm playing this week doesn't have that. At least I hope he doesn't. So I'm going to say that it's going to be too late to make a change like this. And we'll just add it to the to-do list. Handle removing ignored from unit list. Cache. Routers are never picked because they are. Okay. We'll just make it a problem for another time. But at least the Hellions that we do end up building will peel off our individual Zerglings. Like this one here. You actually lost track of the Zergling. And then got wrecked. Something was in my main base there. Overseer, I guess? Yeah, Overseer. I think I should make this base a planetary. I thought that's what I originally did. But I think it's worthwhile. Even against my next week's opponent. It seems like my PFs do well versus him, so. Quietly, Eris has moved up to 6 bases while he's had me running around in circles. And I think using mass Zerglings is actually kind of correct versus the composition I have. Marauders certainly aren't great versus it, and Ghosts aren't awesome either. Alright, here's the first big engagement. And it's way better for him than it is for me, army size wise at least. Yeah, max versus 180. Well, I guess army size is similar. Because he's got 12 more workers than I do. Army value is a little bit in his favor. He's got a couple infestors. And we're on creep. I'm not hearing many snipes, but I'm hearing a lot of dead ghosts. I wonder if a fungled cloak ghost knows that he's detected because he's fungled. Yeah, and that's just going to be it. I can't replenish my army. He shreked me in that fight, even without the lurkers. I guess one of the issues with the Marauders kiting back is that it exposes, like everything's kiting back, the ghosts and the Marauders, which means the sniping ghosts end up in the front, even though they started in the back. They end up out front, so then the snipe gets interrupted. The other problem with having an individual object for each of my ghosts and marauders is that my APM is getting way out of control. 42,000. I think once you reach about 60,000, you're in threat of hitting an APM bug. And if you go over, like, say 150,000, you're almost guaranteed to hit the APM bug. Maybe 120,000 is almost guaranteed. Yeah, so like this ghost and this ghost, they're kind of not in the front line. They're the ones doing the sniping. But what happens is, as my units kite backwards, now they end up on the front line, this one and this one. And Marauders versus Ling Hydra. There's just... I can't imagine a worse unit. I've been using so many cloaked units in my bot that Eris just already goes overkill on the overseers. Just because he's had to deal with like banshees and widow mines from my bot in the past. So cloak on my ghost is rarely going to be useful. Yeah, so snipes getting interrupted and marauders being completely useless in that fight made it not go well at all. Let's see if I consider fungal in terms of whether I'm detected or not. Should cloak if is detected. No, I don't consider it. Is there anything else that detects me when I'm cloaked? EMP, I guess. Although the odds of me being EMP'd and still having energy to maintain cloak is pretty low. Fungal, EMP. Alright. So units dot get buffs contains buffs dot fungal growth. if I'm fungled. Is there even a buff for EMP? I feel like that's something that might be missing from the API. EMP decloak. What do you know? It is there. So I'm detected if I'm under fungal, EMP, or if I'm in the detection range of the enemy, which is a map I built based off of his spores and overseers and whatnot. Trying to think, what about interference matrix? How many times have you seen an undetected interference matrixed cloaked ghost? So the ghost would have to be cloaked in advance. The raven comes in, detects it, casts matrix, and then runs away. But is a matrix cloaked ghost still cloaked? Did we get hosted there? Oh, rough stuff. Hey, rough. Thanks a lot. Welcome, guys. Normally I'm playing some rough-esque Terran, but today I'm coding my Terran bot as their big tournament coming up, and I got to submit the bot within 40 minutes. I think it's just fungal and EMP that detect ghosts. Stasis trap doesn't matter because the unit's completely untouchable anyways. Neuroparasite. Fungal. Let me look at this method just for a second. I have like this can move method where I look at buffs. Stasis trap, neuroparasite, interference matrix, which in the API is called scrambler missile. I guess that was Blizzard's original name for interference matrix. It does kind of look like a scrambler. Okay, I think that's everything. Alright, let's check out the versus Canonana, just to see if anything else jumps out at me as a problem. And other than that, I think we're well tested and ready to submit this guy. You know what concussive shell is called in the API? Because I just added Marauders to my bot and I couldn't figure out how to upgrade concussive shell. I tried every combination of the word, and then when I finally found it, what the heck was it again? Oh no, it's right in the build order, I think. I put it. Sorry, I'm loading SC2 right now, so my computer's super laggy. Punisher grenades. That's what the concussive shell upgrade is called. There's also something called jackhammer concussive grenades in the API. I don't know what that is. Maybe something from the campaign. But this I would have never guessed. And finding the upgrade isn't exactly easy because nothing's documented. And like, here's all the upgrades. There's like a million of these, including stuff like anabolic synthesis, obverse incubation, Viking Jotun boosters. Like, I don't know what half this stuff even is, but it's all in the API. I guess maybe DeepMind wanted to have their Alpha Star play the campaign or something. Combat drugs. That's not stim, so I'm not sure what combat drugs is. Strike cannons. Oh, maybe that was the old one, the old Thor upgrade. Do you remember Thor used to be able to like it would go stationary and it would shoot like a Yamato cannon basically. It would just like his cannons would come off his shoulders and it would just like hammer the opponent. I remember MC, who was unbeatable versus Terran at the time, lost to oh, who's that original Korean Terran foreigner? Jinro? Like the first couple seasons of GSL, if it was called GSL back then, had this foreigner who made like the final eight. But anyways, he beat him by playing mech, and he used the Punisher cannons to destroy to one shot the immortals of MC. It was like a brand new strategy no one knew about. He was even on the same team as MC, so living in the same team house, he had to hide that build from him. Yeah, EMP's at Thor's had energy at 1.2. Yeah, it's true. I think it was a patch where like they removed the energy requirement, and that's what made Jinro able to use it. I think it was Jinro. Okay, let's see what's going on in the game here. Come on, load. There we go. Oh, right. My initial Marines don't build. I mean, I guess it's okay because the Zerglings are afraid of the bunker, but for some reason my initial Marines do not build. And they're right in my build order too. Yeah, purchase unit Marine. I changed my max Marines to 0, so maybe it's checking against that. So the only Marines I build are the initial ones in my build order. And they do build eventually. Let me see if it's just like a resource constraint. Okay, barracks finishes. And then it's supposed to be... So barracks command center, and then it's supposed to be orbital, bunker, double refinery, then marine depot marine. Orbital's not building either. Okay, let's take a look at run the code locally. Orbital's not building, Marines are not building. And then it just kind of clicked in. What caused it? Right there. All of a sudden this barracks was able to do stuff again, and this command center was able to do stuff again. Looks like the moment this bunker finished. Could be unrelated. Weird. But that's actually pretty significant. Like, that an idle command center at the start of the game, I do not want that. You know, and if these Zerglings weren't stupid. In the API, you can't tell if a bunker's full or not. So, it's not his fault, but if, for instance, he ran in, this whole expansion base would be dead. They are moving to cover the third. I guess keeping the bunker up for now is okay. I'm a little worried about this covering of the third. It doesn't look like a very good squad. I guess ghosts are decent versus zerglings, and if it's roaches, we got snipe and marauders. Yeah, he looks really tentative to attack. There he goes. I'm not going to change it now, but I kind of wish I started my starport earlier in this build. It would be nice to have some detection for these burrowed roaches. That said, it's hard for the burrow micro to work versus snipe though. I guess the other thing I wanted to check to make sure these Hellions are really tentative. I don't want them running in and dying. So I'm hoping they stay behind and only attack when there's Zerglings. Oh, looks like he got peeled off to deal with the drones. As long as they don't purposely run in Hydra range. Yeah, this one is refusing to go in Hydra range. The problem is they're faster, so they end up in the front. So they might end up getting stuck there. Yeah, like what's happening right now. They're trying to retreat, but they're stuck. Because if they fight in the front line, it's basically just throwing away 100 minerals. Vikings doing a good job of hunting down the overlords on their side of the map. He's already up to 6 kills. So these distracting overlords are no longer distracting my army, and they're getting picked off by the Viking hit squads. Okay, so let's take the opening build order and then what happened, why the orbital and the marine didn't work. Let's even do it on the same map just in case it's related. That was on Glittering Ashes. Yeah, okay. It's probably to your studio. Can the bot realistically tell its unit is about to be sniped? Yes. I mean, my bot can tell that I'm attempting to snipe a unit with another ghost. It won't have any understanding of whether that snipe is going to potentially be interrupted or not. But until it's interrupted, it won't oversnipe. Do I still have a breakpoint on the first frame? Yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm doing the wrong build. Stop. Ghost Marauder. And run. So wasn't building Marines or Tech Lab. What's the builder supposed to be? Just gonna make it smaller. Put it over here. Go back on this view. All right, so this is the build order on the side here. Barracks, Command Center, Orbital, Bunker. I guess we'll just run it first, see if it happens again. And then it's right near the beginning of the game. And then if we see it happening again, I'll put in some breakpoints and see if we can figure out why. So there's the Command Center. Now it's going to be Orbital, Bunker, Double Gas, Marine. Tech Lab got thrown in the front for some apparent reason. And it can't build... And not only is it not building the Tech Lab, but it's not building anything after the Tech Lab. Didn't build the Tech Lab because it didn't have gas. First of all, it shouldn't be there. So I think probably there's a conflict over here. Build manager. I shouldn't be training units until the build order is complete. Right, that's why that was in there before. I don't even need this actually. Yeah, we'll keep it. Okay. So only when the build order is complete do I go for my generic training and building stuff. Let's try that out. The other weird thing though, I mean, this will fix the problem. But the other thing is, why was the tech lab preventing everything else on the list from being built? Oh, probably because my gas went into the negatives. So when it's saying, do I have enough gas to build a barracks, then it wouldn't work. Because it's like, well, your current gas is negative 25, and a barracks requires 0 gas. So you can't build the barracks. Or whatever the next unit was. Orbital command, for instance. Yeah, because normally, like, if I can afford the next 2 items, but I don't, or like if I have enough minerals for like the bunker, but I don't have enough gas for the orbital, for instance, then I'll go to the next one in the list. I bet it's because I put the gas into the negatives when I subtracted the tech lab costs from my bank. Alright, so the Marines are building. The orbital upgraded. Yeah, that fixed the problem. Okay, so that's fixed. I guess while I remember it though, let's see if we can fix that other issue. So that would be when I'm purchasing, probably in can't afford. Yeah, so if my mineral bank is greater than the mineral cost, and my gas bank is greater than the gas cost. So if my gas bank was a negative 25, and the gas cost is 0, this one's manually done. It's probably this one where I get it from. Yeah, from my own mineral bank. So we'll change that to the maximum of 0 in my bank. So if it's in the negatives, we'll change it to a 0. So let's actually put this problem back. So I'm undoing the fix. So it'll stupidly try to make that tech lab. And then I just want to see if my bot will progress beyond the tech lab even though it doesn't have the gas. If gas cost equals 0 or. Is that a better way of doing it? I'm trying to think, because like I can manually input those numbers too when I use that method. Is there ever a reason I'd want to allow negatives? Probably not. Yeah, I could do it that way as well. Yeah, I mean, technically the max method is probably a little less performant than a zero check. I mean, you'd also have to check to see if less than, yeah, if the cost is zero, then you don't have to check, compare the values. Maybe that's better. I'll take a look at it. I actually wasn't even paying attention. Or you said that again. Let me turn that scene swapper off as well. It's not being helpful right now. Tools, SC2 scene swapper, stop. Yeah, I mean, in other instances, remembering, like, there's a difference between having my bank at negative 100 gas and having my bank at 0 gas. Because 0 implies I don't have any gas, but negative 100 implies not only do I not have any gas, but I require 100 gas for something I'm saving up for. But specifically in that can't afford method, I don't think there's there's probably no reason to check against a negative gas value. I can just say if the gas cost is 0, don't bother even checking the gas. So there's the tech lab. So as soon as I can find the tech lab and the orbital, it should be upgrading the orbital. Okay, it's not working. So with this change, it should have built the tech lab at, or built the orbital at 200 minerals. Because there's 50 minerals that's set aside for the tech lab. So I'll run again and put a breakpoint in. This is old code. Maybe this old code's not even using that method. No. Nope. Yeah, yeah, it has its own method. Unit type. And this is overridden. That means all my purchases are using a different method. Annoying. Okay, you know what? I'll do this later. Don't want to be messing around with too many things when it's right around submission time. Let's it's not going to be a problem because we fixed this anyways. So it's not even going to try to build that tech lab. So forget, I got 15 minutes. Just the fact that it's an interface that multiple objects use, it's too late to do that. The ProBots tournament, no, we're submitting it today. They'll probably need at least a week to run the games and make sure everything's kosher. So I'm guessing probably 2 weeks from now. Let's see if I can get the schedule though. It's on the ES Champ YouTube channel. And I don't even have Discord running. I like how my bot is highlighting the sweeper, the cleaning bot. I think I highlight any unit type that my bot doesn't recognize. So if there's a unit but it doesn't recognize the type, then I highlight it so I know later. Because sometimes like I didn't know what destructible rocks were or what slow zones were. But apparently I don't know what cleaning bots are. Let's get rid of that breakpoints. Any other breakpoints you have here? No. What was I doing? Checking ProBots. Schedule. It's probably my email. I bring it up on the side here. Okay, first submission March 7th, first broadcast March 17th. So it's in 10 days. I believe that's a Thursday. My Rain Man powers are working, yep. So it's going to be every Thursday starting March 17th. And it'll end, it usually runs for about 2 months. About 4 best of 3 series each week. Okay, we need to get this thing ready to submit. Is this bot running without errors? Yep, let's just try one more. Oh, right, let's just change the available builds. What do we want? We want a Mass Banshee. Okay, so Banshee, Mass Mine, Opener, and Ghost Marauder. And then it'll select based on our data, and we set up the data. Okay. Copy this guy. into our data. Let's run one more normal game. Banshee build. Just make sure that's still functioning. And as soon as that starts, we'll build the jar file. Let me get the link I'm actually submitting to. Oh shoot, there's a form I need to fill in too. Okay, we're tight on time here. Ops name is Caps Rock. Solo. Nope. Next. Java. Terran. What's your bot good at? Macro and BM and auto turrets. What's your bot's special trait? I don't know. What's your bot's weakness? Tempest. Special trait. Animated mules. Anything you should know about your bots? This season has fuel, BM, and ghost usage. Okay, next. Submit your bot. Okay, let's build that jar. Copy, paste. Need a text file called, because I need to submit the other way, called dropbox.txt. So I drag this in here. Data. That goes there. Next, has your bot participated? Yes. Would you like to use the bot in previous season? Yes. Willing to produce? Yes. Video and voice. UTC -5? Is that right? I don't know. I'm out of time. Do you have any requests or requirements for doing an interview? No. Submit. And then for my Dropbox link, it's actually important I get this in immediately because I think the link disappears right when the deadline hits. I guess one other thing I should do is test running this in the ladder manager. I had this issue once before where the jar didn't build correctly. Catrack versus Micro Machine, sure. Drag this in here. Your name. Catrack@gmail.com. Think we'll see any worker rushes this season? I'm sure we will. But I'm not afraid of it with my bot. I have a secret worker rush defense, and my generic defense, I've finally put a lot of time into it, where I can even hold off like perfectly microed probes now. And you think as a human, like a worker rush is not a big deal, but imagine probes that will always stay just out of range while they're regenerating shields, and then when they regenerate them, they come back in to attack. Basically, the initial 12 probes could kill like 50 SCVs on a move. So it took a lot of, fighting back the probes while mining, while trying to get the money to repair and finding the time to repair the SCVs. These things... Shit, which one's even Ketrock? Probably this one because I'm walling off over here. Yeah, it's running. Good enough. Submit. I got 2 minutes to spare. Maybe I should go back and make some changes. Finished uploading. You know what it sucked? You remember my internet went down earlier? What if it stayed down? That would not have been good. Okay. I think we're all done. Your bot's been submitted. Did the Dropbox link. I mean, the one thing I didn't test was the way it was choosing which build to do. In fact, only at the very last second did I change the available builds to these 3. I mean, even if it picks one of those builds at random, I'm pretty happy. I think we got our two of our stronger builds. Fuck. No, the Ghost Marauder build's not there. History. Dropbox. Okay, it's still up. I got the link. I'll wait for time. We're out of time. Maybe they didn't set a time limit this time. If we put all that work into Ghost Marauder build and we're not even going to see it in ProBots, that would suck. Copy. Replace. Did anyone in the chat catch that? I picked the wrong build. Delete that. Add to archive. Didn't work. Why? Something running? I didn't actually read that error message well. Okay, worked this time. Whatever. It's uploading. March 7th at 2300 UTC. Maybe I don't know how time zones work. Uploaded. So either they're going to take the other one because technically this one's late and they'll see a timestamp on it, or they'll pick the newest one, which is what I think makes most sense, because that's likely the one. Because if people maybe go to stake and then upload it again, or they'll ask me which one was the correct one. But yeah, that was a deadly mistake. We may not be seeing the Ghost Marauder build after all is said and done. What is 2300 UTC? Yep, that was a minute ago. Oh well. Nothing we can do now. So what would it be anyways? It's my battle mech build. So that's the battle mech. This is battle mech that opens with mass mines and drilling claws. And this is just my mass banshee build. Wait a minute. This isn't even the right list. I may have panicked for no reason. The real list is here. Okay, that was correct. Ghost Marauder. This is the list of strategies I use versus human opponents. So I uploaded 2 copies of my bots, and they're both identical for all intents and purposes. You know what did happen was someone watched like Hearthstone play one of our bots on his channel and came to our Discord and started playing all the bots and saying, oh, they're all trash. And then he played my bots and he couldn't beat it. And I actually asked him to send over a replay to see if I could find any real-time bugs in there. Because making your bot work in real time is a gigantic pain in the butt. But yeah, we can take a look at that game. Somewhere. Where the heck did it happen? Yes, here. I wonder if he mentioned what league he was in. Rats. No, but we can make a guess what league he's in. One time when I went to log in, I accidentally clicked up here and typed my password in full view of everyone on stream. Ever since then, I've been Careful about that. Not careful enough not to type my password on stream, but at least making sure I'm typing it in the right form window that's not visible. I'd love to see you play against your Ghost Marauder build. I can try it. It's going to be laggy, because it was one thing I realized, especially after I've had IntelliJ open for a long time, my coding software, that having my streaming software running and StarCraft running again, because I have to have two windows open, one for me and one for my bot, and having my bot running all at the same time, my computer can't handle it. With that said, I've made my bot a lot more performance. I found an issue that was slowing down my system. And that was actually thanks to one of the viewers. Someone was said my bot was running slow in his system last season. And it motivated me to look into it, and I realized what the problem was. Right, I forgot to turn the scene swapper off. Yeah, so this is a Zerg opponent. I mean, he's at 230 APM. So, I don't think he's like Bronze League or anything. Yep, already taking his third. This is kind of a new meta thing, too, for Zerg to take this forward third on Blackburn. I don't remember why, but I know pros are doing this now, where I think this is the natural third base most Zerg players would pick. So this guy is at least aware of the meta. So I think he's at least diamond. And my bot's actually not using one of its good builds. It's using its troll build, but I'm sure the one you guys will appreciate, which is the Mass Raven build. It's certainly one of its weakest builds, other than like my SCV rush and stuff. Although I bet my SCV rush would win versus a human, just because of the micro. No! No! This is the code I have to like... The combination of the barracks and the marines is supposed to catch, you know, when Overlord's hanging out on these high ground positions that you can't see. But this one's not exactly a high ground position. Planetary. Oh, it canceled. What? Okay, I gotta look at that logic. I guess it's hard for me to know like how much threat there is, but yeah, this PF is fine. And it's like 1 second from complete, and then it decides, nah, we're dying. We need to. Oh my gosh, that was like a split second from complete. We need to cancel and lift off. And it's not lifting off. So there's a bug found. Not a good time to mule that face either. Oh boy. Not a good start. But at least since we're going Master Raven, we have plenty of minerals, so we can afford many more command centers. The barracks decided to land here instead of go back and complete the wall. This is a bug too. I think I know why this isn't working. Because I think the way I do it is when it's time to... When I'm giving the command to lift off, I say okay, cancel what you're doing right now, like cancel the SCV you're building or cancel the PF upgrade, and then in a few frames from now, lift off. And that in a few frames from now doesn't work well in real time because real time skips frames. So it's probably code, it just doesn't get caught at all. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so what were the two bugs? So it's probably that delayed command method I use won't work in real time. And floating overlord racks return to original position. Oh, I see the same thing happen again. Huh? Meanwhile, he's on a full 3-base economy. No 4th base on the way, at least. But he does have a layer and a lot of gas going down. Third time's the charm. Okay, the other big problem with Mass Raven, this is why my bot got slaughtered in the humans versus bots show match in last ProBots, was that it also chose the Mass Raven build, and it got stuck on 2 bases. And going Mass Raven off of 4 gas is never a good thing. At least he's going to let it finish this time, thank God. Yeah, we're only up to 2 Ravens right now. Not sure why there's 3 Banshees. I always build 2, because 2 + 1 Banshees can one-shot a creep tumor. So if they're traveling around with the Ravens, they can just like pop all the creep tumors as they're going around. The third one must have been like an emergency unit when the Zerglings were killing everything. Oh, I saw mutas. That's not good. I should be throwing up missile turrets now? Yeah. This is also before I fix my Ravens, so my Ravens are only going to be throwing down auto turrets when the enemy's retreating, more or less. And when they're not retreating, they jump right on top of them if they throw down turrets. Looks like he's going to catch this base. Yeah, see, the cancel's working, the lift-off's not. It's happening every time. Saturating his 4th base. We did get this one uploaded up here. I wonder if he knows about it. He's hanging out in the area. Gas mineral patches are dying, disappearing in our main. It's funny, I float this factory to get it out of the way. Because I made this build back when I didn't know how to make factory units. But now maybe I should use it. I can build Hellbats or Widow Mines or Hellions. Certainly got the minerals to spare with this build. My bot should be good enough at popping bailing packs. Nope. I thought my bot prioritizes Bailings over Zerglings. I did change my PFs recently though. They used to always look for the best splash damage possible, and then I changed it to just look for kills. You know, if there's a weak unit, finish it off, because I think it's better to do less damage and actually finish some units off than to just spread the damage out just to get good splash. Especially if you can finish off like an immortal or something. The Viking micro is helping a lot versus the mutas there. Die, rocks, die. Don't know if I want to be opening up paths versus Zerg. So this might be the classic mistake of trading Bailings for bases when you're not ahead. When you're already ahead, it's a great way to like permanently stay ahead. You can just keep your opponent crushed on income. But if losing income isn't the end of the world, you're basically just throwing away your army for not killing any of your opponent's army. And that's going to hurt you over time. Nice, I like how they focus on the creep tumors first. What's the Raven count up to? Only 9, but should be going at a good rate now. Yeah, we're building 5 at a time at the moment. 5 Ravens and 1 Viking. Good creep spread. Yeah, there to focus the Bailing, so I just saw it, even though the Zerglings are in front. Repair! Repair! Oh no, they're gas SCVs! I only pull mineral SCVs to repair with. Oh shit. Like, gotta maintain that gas income, so gas SCVs are not used for repair. Something happened up here. Oh, and over here. So you got some missile turrets and 2 missile turrets and a handful of SCVs. Going down auto turrets when they're retreating. Yeah, these Ravens are the opposite of what should be. Did I miss another attack? I think I did. I'm not a good observer, guys. Oh no, is this the one we already saw here? Try 8xing a game where the bots are 50,000 APM. That's a lot of actions to execute at 8 times. When the mutas are facing me, I didn't place auto turrets. When they turned to flee, then I threw down 5 auto turrets. I think my mastering build is going to be way better with that bug fix. I can't believe I didn't notice it until recently. Yeah, I don't think my PF prefers the Bailings over the Zerglings anymore. Now they're just looking for kills. He's retreating. Throw down auto turrets. Corruptors are faster than the Vikings, but against my Viking micro, he's going to have a lot of trouble getting in range. His loss must be, yeah, 8k in my favor. Bunch more Vikings on the way. I guess because he's upped his corruptor count. Surprisingly, mineral broke actually. Which is a little odd when you're going Ravens and starports and upgrades. With no mineral sink. I guess it's replacing SCVs and replacing planetaries. Yeah, 3-3 Vikings are pretty good. With kiting. Oh, well 2-2 I guess. It hasn't finished yet. My bot is incapable of taking the space. So that'll be a nice little bonus for him if he took it. I think I'm the only bot who's... I'm the only one who's mined from this space though. He's gonna need a late game transition though. This trading Bailings for bases is definitely not gonna work for him anymore. Ultraless Cavern on the way. Let's get our bots finally on the offense. "21 Hydras." Okay, well that's a transition. Does he have Hydra upgrades? Just Carapace. Yeah, so he's gonna have his +0 Hydras. And my Ravens get so suicidally close just because I think the Hydras are retreating. One Evo chamber down. Finally starting his missile attack. I guess he only needs one Evo chamber because he already has +3 armor. He hasn't taken his gas up here. My creep killing banshees just scored an upgrade denial. Pretty much free kills. The other thing we're not mentioning too is like whenever my stuff gets injured, I can just bring it back and repair. So I'm being super cost efficient that way. And he does have the extra base up here, but he doesn't have this one right here. Single ultra. He does have a chitinous plating too. More hydras on the way. My auto turrets should be smart enough to gun down the hydras instead of the ultralisk. Yeah, see the hydra died there, even though there's 2 ultras. So you can't really tank the damage very well with ultralisks. Yeah, I mean, this build is strong. And other builds I have end up transitioning into Mass Raven at some point. If I just get enough bases and enough gas. But opening Mass Raven is, it has its weaknesses. The PF is actually focusing down the, Hydralisks. Well, that's a lot of dead SCVs. Yeah, now he's retreating. Throw down all the auto turrets. Oh, it's painful to watch for me. He's in a slow zone. It'll work here. Oh, he even changed directions in there. Mind at our first 2 bases. Finally oh, this one's gonna be retaken. That ultra's pretty low. Once again, because he's running away from me, my Ravens throw down auto turrets. This medevac is only for repairing SCVs. It actually, the issue I had was actually the reason my Ravens are auto-turning only when they retreat is because when I calculate this angle, like the angle from this Hydra to this Raven, for instance, it was that method that was the opposite. So instead of calculating, you know, that this is like 330, it was calculating the opposite, saying, hey, this is actually 930. So it was affecting other things too. So for instance, this medevac wants to get over to the weak SCV here. So instead of saying, okay, this is the best way, is to scoop around this way. This is the angle I should take. Now instead it's trying to scoop around like the long way. So it didn't just affect my Ravens. affected a lot of things. But I mean, I was having to use trigonometry, and I don't remember that stuff, man. Like cos tan 2, like I don't know. I couldn't tell that I did it wrong. Okay, Raven count is looking pretty massive now. 45 Ravens. I mean, even though my Ravens are going suicidally close, at least they get to come back to repair when they take too many hits. So he's still probably not getting a lot of kills, because he's probably facing a lot of full hit point Ravens. And they can handle a few volleys, especially with +3 upgrade. And this guy's going back to repair. His meter is just still +0 because I killed his Evo chambers. He just rebuilt 2 more Evo chambers and it looks like he's about to lose those now. Those poor Hydras can't get their attack upgrade. Oh, he's trying to stutter step in. It is granting him some kills, but yeah, and he's broke. Oh, this game's about to end. I think it's about to GG because of the time. Yeah, so basically when this Raven's trying to auto-turret this Hydra, if the Hydra's facing me, he's supposed to put it down pretty much close to max range, like here, like an auto-turret. But if the Hydra's facing away, like it's retreating, it's going to try to put down the auto-turret like this close. And the problem was the opposite was happening here. So these Hydras are moving forward, so I'm trying to auto-turret like right on top of them, basically. Instead of from further range. Yeah. I wonder what this game would have looked like if I didn't throw away 3 command centers at the start of the game too. Each one of those command centers I should have been able to lift off, bring it back to my main base, land it. At which point my bot decides whether it should send it out again to be an expansion or just turn it into a macro orbital. Yielding a base that's not there. Yeah, the canceling the planetary that was about to finish, I think it was just bad luck on the logic. But it wouldn't always be wrong, right? Like if I reach this health and say there's also 10 roaches here, then I think it's correct to cancel this and lift it off, rather than let it finish, shoot once or twice, and then die. But it's kind of hard. My bot doesn't really have a concept of armies, really, so it's kind of hard to know how much damage output's here. I think the way I do it is I look at all the potential damage output in these 4 corners, and whichever one's highest is where I make my decision off of. So I'm probably actually only considering the threat as 4 Zerglings. The other thing is I'm not sure if I consider the threat proportional to how far along my PF progress is too, right? We did cancel this so the split second remaining. If it was halfway done right now, obviously it would make sense to cancel it once I hit, I guess, 500 hit points. But with a split second remaining, you might want a different decision. And at this moment in time, I do have a third base, so this mule is not the worst decision. It just so happens that right after I called it down, I no longer have a third base. So I guess you could only mule the bases that aren't under attack or something like that. If a base is under attack, just mule over here. But the liftoff is definitely a bug. The barracks ending up over here was definitely a bug. I think the way this works is when I create this object of the barracks, let's see when it started. I remember where it came from. So as soon as I lift it off there, I'm like, okay, this is where I was, so this is going to be my landing zone. But then
unacceptable landing zone.
I don't know, at some point I probably recreate the object. Maybe when I switch to this overlord. So like the where I was position will change to where I just happen to be floating at that moment, instead of the original position over here. Change their location if repeatedly denied. Yeah. Well, at least what happens there is like, if I can't take a third, then I don't get enough gas. If I don't get enough gas, I have extra minerals. If I have extra minerals, I'm building more command centers. So even if I'm focused on taking this base, the fact that I have extra command centers means eventually I'll also start floating out to these bases at the same time. I'm also trying to expand here. Yeah, there's a lot of subtleties that are very specific scenarios. Like you look at a bot do something and you're just like, oh, well, if this, then do that. But you gotta realize like there's millions and millions of those scenarios, right? So you gotta handle everything in very generic ways. Yeah, but certainly something like, you know, after your natural base, build your third base, you could use some more logic there. So, like, I think if I see that there's threat here, which I almost never do because this is usually in the fog of war, but if I see that there's threat here, I'll try to expand over there. But like you said, maybe if this command center dies, it should mark some flag that I should expand somewhere else next time.
We could use some help here.
PS versus Bailings. That one I definitely want to do though. You're right.
Base is under attack. Complete.
Full gas SCV to repair at critical health. Yeah, that's not a bad one too. How does my repair code even look? I have so many different repair codes. Where the heck would it be? Maybe worker manager? Repair logic? What's this repair logic do? Yeah, this is like repairing planetaries and missile turrets and stuff. So it must be this get SCV code. Find the closest idle SCV. Okay. Yeah, so whenever I need an SCV, I use this code. First it checks for an idle SCV, then it looks for one that's distance mining, then it looks for one that's on an oversaturated mineral. Then oversaturated gas, then closest mineral SCV, then the closest gas SCV. Yeah, so I bet what it did is it pulled like a oversaturated mineral SCV from a different base and it just didn't arrive in time. Rather than pulling a gas SCV that's right next to it.
Unacceptable. Complete.
When did that even happen? That was later in the game, right? You rammed a bunch of bailings into my command center. And then finished it off. I think he was winning at the time, so it's probably around here.
Mineral field depleted. Your forces are under attack.
Yeah, I built that method a lot around optimal mining efficiency. Because most of the time when you're grabbing an SCV for something, it doesn't really matter if it's 1 second away or 5 seconds away. But the method does have the option to take in additional filters, like you must be this close to the planetary. Is it here? No.
Base is under attack.
Was this it? He's morphing a bunch of Banes. Nope. I feel like I missed it. He cancelled it 3 times, or he destroyed it 3 times. And then I think it was the 4th time he attacked it. They left it with a sliver. I do agree though that when you're pairing a planetary, you don't want to be pulling from a different base if necessary. I mean, you'd still want to pull from another base if you need more workers and they're not there. But you probably should pull from all the workers you can from the local base before you pull from somewhere else. No, we're back to where we started. When did it happen? The SCVs are... The retreats, I think... How does it work? SCVs do pull away. Like say a Reaper came here and I had a couple red SCVs. All my SCVs will keep mining, but those red ones will like move out of Reaper range. They'll pull over here. So it's something to do with the value of the incoming damage. I think if it can two-shot the worker. But Bailings are weird. They don't really have an attack, so I may not handle Bailings correctly. Because they just have like an ability, right? Not an attack. And that's just for my mining SCVs. I think my repairing SCVs, they don't run away. They're hard coded on the repair. Yeah, like these SCVs are scattering because of the mutas, for instance. And when the mutas leave, they go back to work. Yeah, though there definitely wasn't any oversaturated SCVs at this time. I see why I had a mineral problem. I have no SCVs. All my bases are like barely have enough for just a little bit of gas. And I think this is something very specific to my Master Raven build, is that I stay 3 on gas no matter what. Normally for all my other builds, I'd be dropping down to 0 or 1 in gas because of my resources right now. But for Master Raven, there's just like maximum gas. No matter what, maximum gas. Because you're trying to get all Ravens. Yeah, it is nice to have one method. It's nice to have one method to pull an SCV that always works no matter the situation. But obviously it's not always going to be perfect for every situation. So, I guess we could do something like... yeah, and even this repair code isn't really specific to fortresses. Oh wait, no, this if block is though. Oh, I do send in an extra filter. I'm sending in a filter that the repair SCV must be within 9 range of the planetary. So it wasn't an issue that I was pulling SCVs from a different base. It was an issue that there was no SCVs there to pull. So why didn't it pull the gas SCVs? I wonder if it's also because it's Mass Raven build and I've trained my bot to say no matter what, maximum gas intake. Find the closest gas mining SCV. Num available gas SCVs. So it's less than 3.5. No. I feel like it should have grabbed those SCVs as they're coming in. Like once they got close, they were less than the distance of 9. So we're filtering it to all the gas SCVs at every base. Getting the closest one to the current base. Now we're applying the filter, so it has to be within 9 range. Otherwise, null. Num available gas SCVs. Like, I'm not seeing anything in here saying, like, okay, if it's Mass Raven, say it's 0 or something, or some hack like that. I don't grab gas SCVs that are right about to enter the gas geyser because it doesn't work correctly. You try to grab them and tell them to do something, but then they enter the gas geyser so they don't get the command. But that's not the case here. Yeah, and all the previous ones are applying the filter. Weird one. I don't know. I'll have to look into that another time. I mean, in this case, the SCVs were like over here when they would have been in 9 range. Like, yeah, they're trying to enter the gas geyser, but they're definitely not in front of the gas geyser, which is what I check. So once they got here, they should have been grabbed as repair SCVs. Looks like I moved them behind the PF, then give them a repair command. But nothing actually happened. Huh. When I can look at the code, it looks like it should have been okay. So it's probably a bug more than a logic error. Anywho. Yeah, there's plenty of bugs that work out well for you. Like me forgetting, like not building Marines to put in my bunker, but the opponent's not actually attacking my bunker. That's an unintended feature. The medevac, this is hilarious, but I actually think it's good value. Even in builds where I don't build any bio units and don't do any drops, I find you can get value out of having a single medevac. Let me see if I can find an example here. I think I put a video up on my channel. Play this. Oh, if you guys haven't seen this, this is ready for ProBots now. Now my mule BM is like animated to do better. Priorities set, exactly. I think I made another one too. After the smile, it does something else.
In the top left.
GG, easy. Oh, I do a heart. I think I built a Pac-Man as well. Like a Pac-Man eating two mule dots in front of it. I haven't added it though. It's funny, I actually created code to write other code. So this entire line, all these things, this is the code that was generated by other code. So I just like shape the mules the way I want them on the screen, and then I run code which generates this, and then I can pop it in here. What was I doing though? I was looking for something else. Oh yeah, the medevac value. If we're just having it run around healing, repairing SCVs. So as long as it's good at staying alive and you can boost it from location to location and it just looks for like bio units that needs to heal. Does anyone have this happen to me? YouTube just randomly pauses on me all the time now. I think it's like maybe a plugin I'm using with Chrome. It's especially good versus -0 because he's always like non-stop adept harassing me. Speak of the devil. So it's good to, there's always SCVs that require repair. But I think I have my bot set up, like if I have 8 SCVs that are under max health, then I'll build a medevac just for this purpose. And then it worked out great for my Ghost Marauder build. I almost had to change nothing with my medevacs. In fact, I think I changed nothing with my medevacs. I'm using this exact same code. I actually updated my medevacs since this video. Now they'll try to run towards my Vikings when they're getting chased by Phoenix. Or Corruptors or whatever. Well, Corruptors isn't an issue because they're faster than Corruptors, but... I mean, if you repair SCVs, you have to turn off your mining. If you don't do anything to repair your SCVs, they'll just die easier. But you can make a single medevac and get like thousands of hit points worth of repair done. So I think they'll still prefer to repair the closest unit with my Ghost Marauder build, so they're probably going to end up topping up my SCVs before they come join the Ghost Marauder army. But once they're in the Ghost Marauder army, they'll function well. You want a speed boost, you're slower than Phoenix. This is my anti-nuke code I wrote. Mules are obviously not included. Now we just need a bot who tries to nuke me. I think there's only one bot in the ladder that does it. The other thing is, if there's a Raven close enough with enough energy, it'll beeline over and try to prevent the nuke from even going off. Yeah, I think -0's Phoenix don't actually pick anything up. They're purely an anti-air unit. And my god, are they annoying. Do you know how you hit a Phoenix controlled by a bot? The answer is you don't. It's literally the fastest unit in the game. And unless he chooses to move his Phoenix in range of your Vikings will never get a shot off on his Phoenix. So my bot is just like chasing Phoenix around the Vikings like an idiot the entire game without being able to do any damage. Unless he somehow ends up getting like a 4-on-1 and then he'll choose to move the Phoenix in to attack the Viking. Yeah, exactly. So basically, like he builds the Phoenix to kill my Banshees. And then I build the Vikings to kill his Phoenix, but my Vikings can't kill his Phoenix. So what I need to do, instead of having my Vikings try to kill the Phoenix, I should just have my Vikings protect my Banshees. Because like, I can at least zone him out from the stuff he's trying to kill. And then of course when he transitions into Tempest, then that just makes things even more difficult. Tempests are a nightmare in the bot scene, and then if he has Phoenix to protect the air as well. Guard mode, yeah, I mean, like, my, the handful of Marines I build my tank Viking build, they kind of do that, where my Marines will never get too far away from my siege tanks. Their job is just to protect the siege tanks. And they'll really only engage stuff if that stuff is in range of shooting my tanks. Yeah. So that's probably it for my bots for a while. So next stream we'll be doing Mass Raven. Playing some ladders. And next update. I mean, there's some work I want done for the next update. There's a bug with my cyclones I need to fix. Sometimes they like run in and die for some reason. But I think there's a couple bugs I need to fix, so then I want to make this Ghost Marauder build better. And that's about it for ProBots, at least at the moment. So let's see here. Second submission is April 3rd. Yeah, so I'll probably take a couple of weeks off from coding, which will leave me about 2 weeks afterwards to work on my bot. Maybe after the first podcast. It'll give me a rough idea who I'm up against. Assuming I win. Looks like I'm going up against the number 5 bots next, assuming I win. Which would be... We don't have an official bracket yet, but someone kind of posted something. Micro Machine. Okay, that's going to be an interesting week too. Ketrog versus Micro Machine. So, this is probably a bit of a tell on what someone's working on. This is the author of the number 2 Zerg bot on the ladder, and he's asking about a question about how to use battle cruisers. I think someone's got neural parasite coded into their bot. Yeah, I mean, we're number 4 and number 5. Myself and Micro Machine. You would think it would be up around number 1, number 2, so we wouldn't run into each other early, but there's just, you know, number 1 spot went to -0. He was not only a top bot, but he got guaranteed the number 1 spot because he won last season. And then there's Eris, like the best bot on the ladder. He took the number 2 spot. And now Zoe's number 3, the other Zerg bot. So that puts me at 4 and Micro Machine at 5. Things change quickly. And I think because of like the videos that were put out by Uthermal and Hearthstone, it's brought a whole bunch of new people into the scene. The bot I'm facing not only didn't even exist a few months ago, but was able to qualify for ProBots and you know, had a decent rank too. I'm only number 4, so he's not like he's the bottom ranked bot. He must be number 12. No, 13. So we've had a big influx of new authors. It's kind of an interesting scene like that where, you know, we have authors like disappear, but then we have new authors that always come and replace them. You're unsubbing if I lose. Well, at least if we lose, we're going to lose in a blaze of glory. I'm more concerned that I'm going to win too fast, and then we won't get to see the Mule BM. I should have thrown in the Mass Raven build anyways. I saw that I played one game against him and lost with Mass Raven, so I didn't put it in. But I think it's safe enough to throw one game in a best of 3. So next will be against Micro Machine, and then if we beat Micro Machine, it'll be -0, most likely. Because he's just gotta get through the number 16, number 8, and the number 9 bots. Sorry, let's move this over a bit. Whoop. I really wish we had a bracket. Yeah, so number 1 is -0. So it's going to be, after this Micro Machine, -0. -0 still absolutely murders me in macro games. I do have a cheesy build that I knocked him out of the SC2 AI tournament with, which may or may not still work against him. Certainly if he's actively working on his bots, he knows it's coming. But I guess it does give me... Yeah, I'm not sure when the third submission is. Or is there even a third submission this time? I didn't see that in the email, actually. Yeah, final. First submission. Oh no, April 3rd is the second submission. Final one. Yeah, so it's the same as last season. Yeah, so I do get to submit before week 6. So I'll get a couple more weeks to do something specific for -0. But his Adepts are a big problem. His Phoenix are a big problem. And his Tempests are a big problem. And if I don't solve all 3 of those problems, I don't think I have a fighting chance. I used to win like maybe 40% of the time versus him before he added Tempests. So I think I'm capable of getting ahead. It's just, I need to get ahead enough now to overwhelm the Tempest as well, which is a big problem for me. Number 2 would be Eris on the other side of the bracket. And 3 is Zoe. So almost certainly if we make the upper bracket finals, we're going to be facing a Zerg. It's going to be Eris or Zoe. Now, the last season had so many upsets that it's hard to even tell. I also want to work on my bot for humans versus bots. I'm trying to get my bot better and better at real time. I think we're getting there. Yeah, I mean, I think that bug fix to the Master Raven build is going to make it like light years better than what it was. One thing I certainly need to do though is not, there's nothing that limits my bot on how many auto turrets it's going to put down. So if it sees like 1 Zergling, it might lay down 12 auto turrets to kill it. So I need something to measure enemy size in an area and compare that to auto turrets amount. I don't know, it's going to be difficult to work through that logic. I was thinking something like creating a map where, you know, maybe I map like the supply. So everything, say this is I don't know, a roach, right? So everything within this grid will get a 2. And then say maybe like 6 range around the roach. Because this is going to represent like what can be shot by auto turrets or something like that. So 6 or 7 range. And then maybe there's an Ultralisk here. So Ultralisk is 6 supply, so that'll get us 6. So all the things in this area of the grid will have an 8, something like that. And then when I go to place an auto turret somewhere, saying like I'm considering to place an auto turret here. Oh no. And then beyond this, for all my auto turrets I have placed or are placing, I would do like a -1. So something in a grid space in here, for instance, would have a value of 1 because it's 2 plus the -1. So then basically when I've mapped all the auto turrets I'm placing, and all the enemy units, I have a complete map. And then when I want to put an auto turret down, I just say, okay, is this number greater than 0? And if it is, I'm allowed to put an auto turret. Right, so the end result is basically I'm going to end up having more or less 1 auto turret per supply of enemies in the area. So if there's a Zergling, I put down 1 auto turret. If there's 4 roaches, I put down 8 auto turrets. Because I already have code for this sort of mapping. I use it for all sorts of things. Because the one thing you can't really do is like every time you want to place an auto turret, you go, okay, here's my auto turret. Okay, now let me look at all the enemy units nearby and do some calculation on that. And then we look at all the auto turrets nearby and do a calculation on that. And then we look at all the auto turrets that are going to be placed nearby. And you do all that all just for the decision of 1 auto turret. And when I'm placing an auto turret too, I usually consider a whole different number of positions. So I'd be doing this like hundreds of times every game frame with Mass Raven. It would slow my bot down to a crawl. But if I just update this mapping once per frame, then every Raven can query against this, and it's just a lookup on a certain position. Because as I'm saying this out loud, it actually seems pretty simple. Just map the enemy units, which I'm already doing. Just got to add another value to the mapping. And then I got to map all my auto turrets and all my Ravens that are casting auto turrets. Yeah. The other thing I should probably get the Master Raven build is the mineral sink. Maybe like 2 factory marauders, or 2 factory hellbats. They could run around with my hellbats, or with my ravens, and fight with the auto turrets. Or I could do it like I do as a human, just send them around the map as like Hellion harass. Yeah, my bot already gets tons of orbitals with the build. Like first it tries to expand a lot, because the more I need gas, the more expansions help me, right? So I'm floating a bunch of minerals, turn that into expansion bases, which would allow you to mine more gas, and then I can get more ravens. But then when that's not an option, you just build a bunch of orbitals, which is why my Mass Raven build is most likely to do the Mule BM at the end, because I just have so many orbitals of that build. We didn't see it versus the human because I think he killed like 200 SCVs. He just kept murdering all my SCVs at every base, so my mineral income never got out of control. Yeah, multi-pronged attacks will confuse some bots, but it won't confuse the best bots, and those are the ones I'm worried about. That doesn't mean there's not value in multi-pronged harass, but it's not like if you attack in 2 places, he's only going to defend the one, and you get free damage at the other. That will never happen versus top bots, except for maybe versus my bot, since my bot's not so good at that stuff. Yeah, build a bunker bank. There was there was a famous clip from State of the Game back in like 2011 or something. If you weren't around for StarCraft back then, the game was like had huge balance issues, and it seemed that every single patch, Blizzard was adjusting something to do with the bunker. No one cared anything about the bunker, so it became like this giant meme. It's like, did you fix any of like the 20 things that need fixing? No, but we made it so bunker salvage is now 175% instead of 100%, or bunker build time is -3 seconds or something like that. So they went on a whole rant on State of the Game about the bunker change in like a sarcastic manner, and then they started talking about building a bunker bank and how they should add it to the game where bunkers like appreciate in value over time, and it was pretty funny. Yeah, David Kim was just fixated on the bunker. I mean, one base cheese from Terran was the meta back then. So obviously offensive bunkers, like adjusting the way offensive bunkers work, could be one way of affecting that cheese. But the more important issue is like, why was Terran cheesing every single game? Like, we need bigger maps. We need a stronger macro game out of Terran. It's like, no, it's all focused everything on the bunker. Anyways, let's find someone to host, I guess. Just chatting. What? I thought the first one's supposed to be the... Oh no, that's on my homepage. The first one's supposed to be
Summon.
StarCraft. Now it's New World for some reason, followed by StarCraft. Up a tree. He must have just came online. Usually has way more viewers than 56. He's usually in the hundreds. Look at my thumbnail. So stupid. I thought thumbnails are actually set like at the beginning of your stream. I didn't know it was constantly changing. That's a good feature now for Twitch. Canadian. It's got a webcam. I think we'll go with the national prize. He's even got a beard. Yeah. I can already tell he deserves more than 2 viewers. Alright. Goodbye to those viewers who are on YouTube and on Twitch. Enjoy the stream of something Phoenix. Frosty Phoenix. Alright, have a good one, guys.